The recording, bro. This
All
shit,
right, all right.
this is too much, bro. This is too much. Oh my gosh, bro. I need some water. All right. What's going on, guys? TG or Thunder God here. And today I'm with, bro, say your name. I'm not saying your name. You're going to get me in trouble. What's your username,
Hey,
bro?
I go by Negroninja on TikTok, bro. My other channel is like Farouk Mess, but Negroninja, y'all know me as Negroninja. So let's just go with that, bro.
Yeah, bro, I'm never saying that because I will get in
Bro, you
trouble
don't
for
have
that.
to, bro. You don't have to. I'm surprised they even allowed me to have that name, bro.
They wild for that. But anyway, today we're talking about the one of the most underrated Naruto characters. At least I kind of disrespected him for a while, and then I kind of switched up when I kind of learned more and more and more about him. That is like the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju. With that big ass coat, fur.
The driftiest Hokage, bro. Like,
It's Canada Goose. What can you say about that? You know what I mean? It's like he's got it down. And we're just gonna be kind of talking about him a little bit in terms of like not just his strength, but like his kind of position in the fandom. As I feel like he's kind of polarizing. I think you'll agree with this on me or with me on this.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Just because like people either think he's fodder, or they think he's he's like really strong, and I feel like there's like it's really weird, right? Because it's like you find it on both sides. Like even people who like know about how strong he is, like
like they take the fact that Dalray killed the people who technically killed him or whatever. They take that stuff and run with it, you know.
Yeah, and I've actually heard a couple arguments for that. Just like since we're just on it with the whole dowry point, it's like I've heard like statements and stuff about Tobirama being like a lot older when he died, like not even being close to his prime. Like yeah.
Like it's not even. I don't even think that's like the main aspect of it. I just find it like funny how they criticize him for that, but they just finished fighting like a whole battle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like you can see like the skin marks on him, and you can see like all the tear marks on him. And it's not like it was like only two Kage level ninjas. There was 20 plus other like elite ninjas. Like what would you classify like as elite? Like what would you say?
Like probably like elite, like definitely like probably like sub like Kage, like kind of like the Kakashi tier.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I would say like probably Kakashi to probably like fourth Raikage maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like up there, like not no slouches, you feel me? Like just real skilled ninja, you know. I wish they specified it.
Yeah.
Because it's a big range from like Jonin to Kage, you know.
And like Kage itself is just such a wide range in terms of like how far it could be. And it's interesting, right? Because the whole deal with Daoru is like he didn't even beat them like conventionally. He just kind of used like.
Would you call Claw on that? I don't know.
Here's the thing, right?
I don't know, bro. I want to, but
it's a little. Look, here's the way I see it, right? It's because he beat them with like the ninja tools or whatever, and then the other brother, I forget which one, like gets mad with like the Nine Tails chakra.
Yeah,
kind of gets dogged on by the Inoshika Cho, but then he also gets like beaten by the ninja tools. So I mean, you could make the argument like they themselves are kind of like so strong that they had to be beat.
They weren't even taking that fight seriously, if I'm being honest. Like, I know it sounds kind of like iffy, but bro, they didn't until they got the Nine Tails chakra, like. And they had the Nine Tails chakra before they fought Tobirama, I believe. So like that's even more of an impressive feat that he was able to take on 20 plus along with two absolute Kage levels, you know?
Yeah, and it definitely, it's also like more consistent to kind of say like he was probably fatigued or, out of his prime or anything like that. Just based off like some of his Jubito, like some of the stuff he does there. When he's like fighting in the war,
on that, bro. I'm rubbing my hands, bro.
Yo, my man's ready. He said this is about to be diabolical. Oh my god.
You got the Deity Gates feet. You got the.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that actually? You want to
Yeah, I'm down with the Deity Gates, bro. That was probably the most slept on feat of his.
Yeah. So for those who weren't aware, actually, so the whole deal with like Hashirama's Deity Gates, right? Is that like they pretty much were able to like trap and like ensue like in like pretty much they tanked the 10 Tails Bijou Bomb, and then Tobirama's like what no, it's like the explosion, like infinite explosions.
Explosion, what's it called? That what was it called, bro? I
It's
can't.
like it's like the infinite explosion technique. I forget the
Yeah,
exact term for it.
with the paper bombs.
Yeah,
Paper bomb.
yeah, it's like the
That's
paper.
insane.
Yeah,
That's crazy
yeah.
to me, bro.
He like blows up the same deity gate that just tanked a Ten Tails Bijou bomb. Now, what's interesting about this feat is I actually argued against it before, and I think it's a little iffy. Do you know how his life on TikTok? Do you know that dude, or have you seen his like any of his stuff?
What's his name?
How is life? I don't know if you've seen him.
I'm not sure.
So
I
he
don't think
brought
so.
it up, right? And the only thing is, right, this is like, I guess for anybody who's gonna argue this, is that
Yeah.
they actually talk about the deity geats, right? And when they actually drop, they pour chakra into like whatever's under them, kind of like matching the strength. So
Gotcha.
yeah, you could possibly argue like they only like match whatever's like actually under them in terms of power. So in that
Okay.
aspect, yeah, yeah. So I actually do think it's kind of up in the air if you want to argue that, but it's if like that's only if you get super like technical with it. On like a surface level, it's just a solid feat overall, like just blowing it
Yeah,
up.
for sure.
I 100% agree
sure.
with. And then
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead, please talk about it.
yeah.
Bro.
So I wanted to talk about also his battle intelligence. Like
Oh yeah.
a lot
Go
of people
ahead.
talk about Itachi. Like, don't get me wrong, Itachi's that dude, you know. But
Animal.
like, people don't recognize that. Wasn't it Tobirama who figured out that Sage energy worked on Jubito,
Yeah.
and that he had that mind connection with a Naruto who just got into Sage mode, you know. So you know his centuries abilities are up there, and he's able to match that. Like, not to gas the dude up, but like, come on, you
It,
feel me?
it literally sees like Minato doesn't regen an arm, and he's like, this
Yeah.
has to be the light and dark style of the Sage of Six Paths. All this
Exactly.
crazy shit, like he deciphers immediately.
Exactly.
It's just it's crazy, right? Because it's like I feel like he's definitely one of those characters where you definitely would have loved to see like more of him in
Yeah,
terms of
definitely Prime too.
yeah,
Like, he was only able to do like 2 shadow clones during the war arc,
yeah, too.
right? Only 2. Like that's crazy. All right, I have a question though. Like, would
Yeah.
you say when Tobirama teleported faster than Casey and Minotaur? I know he's not faster.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously,
So
he's
this
not
is actually
faster than him,
interesting.
right?
This is interesting that you bring this up. Yeah, yeah. So
All right, so I was talking
Yeah.
with D-Balls about it, and he was talking about Minato's mental state since he
Yes,
just figured out
yes.
about Obito's identity, right?
yeah.
So how much of an impact do you think Minato was at like
So
real talk?
yeah, the
'Cause
whole
you have
deal. Yeah,
Obito there, but you also have him trying to kill your own son.
yeah.
You know, so what would you say?
The whole deal with that, right? It's what like in the fandom, it's like referred, or in like the debating community, I guess they refer to it as like a daze, and it's like an emotional suppressant, if you would. It's for some reason it like blocks you out from like going all out and like pretty much like
Gotcha.
fighting somebody. So I've actually heard some debates between it's funny they bring this up because this is like a big thing when people debate Minato versus Tobirama. You have to essentially argue this days in which chapters it takes place to see if for example, right? Because if Tobirama does something over like Casey and Minato, is it like is Minato in this days or not? Because that's a big difference in terms of like because if you're kind of in this days, you're really like it's almost what's a good way of putting it? I have a good analogy. You know how like Gohan's fighting Cell in like Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z, and he's like mentally suppressing himself, like even though he could have beaten Cell that whole time with like all his power with like one hand.
Gotcha,
It's like
gotcha.
that. It's like that. It's kind of like mentally like really suppressing yourself. So that's a big deal in terms of dealing with that. For my personal stance, I think it's far like more consistent to say like KCM Minato over Tobirama, but base
Oh, yeah, for sure.
yeah, base Minato and Tobirama, that's actually a lot more contentious than a lot of people think, because Tobirama actually does have really good like feats and stuff like that, compared to like base Minato, so that's actually way more up in
Yeah.
the air in terms of like comparing those two.
hmm But yeah, man. I also wanted to talk about what's it called? His not necessarily his strength, but why people dislike him so much, right?
Oh yeah.
And people don't like to give him the benefit of the doubt at any circumstance. I keep saying, bro, if you want to call Tobirama racist, then you have to call what's his name, Shisui, you have to call Itachi, you have to call Kagami and Uncle Tom.
That's
Because they
such a
all on the
stupid
same
meme.
side of the coin, you know?
Yeah, it's a terrible meme in the community. Like, those are Chiha's,
It's
like, Tobirama in heaven. Yeah.
It's crazy to me because although he did do all that, like he did alienate them or whatever, let's not act like let's not act like it wasn't for the greater good of the village. And I know people gonna talk about, oh, he like inspired Donzo to do what he did. Like, if you're gonna take Donzo, you got to mention the third Hokage. You got to mention like Kagami too, who was like what Shisu's grandfather, I believe.
Yeah,
So like
something like that. Yeah,
you can't just use the points that fit your narrative. You feel me? Like you got to look at it objectively.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I mess with him so much because like I personally think he's more misunderstood than Sasuke. I may be stretching, but I think
I actually agree with that. I actually do agree with that just because like he blatantly says, right, like it's not just the Uchiha. It could have been any other clan. It just happened to be the Uchiha. And then people are out here making memes that like Tobirama hates them, and it's so like wrong because like he sees Sasuke dying, right? And he's like, oh man, I wish I could move. I would use my like soul jutsu to save him. Like what? Like if he hated it
that at all, bro. It's crazy.
It's so like dumb, and it's like I hate like anime like, and this is so like extra, but I hate when like it's like the Sakura useless thing. Like I don't know what your stance on that is, but it's like overblown and like to the point where it just gets inaccurate.
It's just annoying, and yeah, for sure, especially during the war arc. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even if it was like towards the Uchiha, why doesn't Tobirama get any like sympathy like Obito gets or like Sasuke gets or like Madara gets? You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't work for him because he doesn't go for your because he doesn't work aligned with your favorite character, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it's just unfortunate that people are so biased and that we're able to recognize that and them still not being able to admit to it, you know.
Yeah, it's almost crazy how much jutsu he created that was like used and impacted in the series, like the Shadow Clone, the Edo Tensei, like all this crazy like S rank stuff that he's like, oh yeah, I just I like the flying Raija. He created all of that, and everybody else just kind of refined it. Yeah.
No credit, bro. Like when you think about who created it, then you give his credit, but like it's never the first thing mentioned. You know what I mean? Like people don't mention that like Naruto and Minato don't get those powers without Tobirama unless it's like transformed into another jutsu, you know. It's like it's crazy. It's
almost like I would argue it's harder to create a jutsu from scratch than it is to like adapt one that's already created. That because like I would 100% argue that. And it's just it kind of goes back to like his insane arsenal and just kind of like the downplay of like. Because there's this character, right? And, like, people... That's the dumbest thing, right? But his feats, honestly, like, are really, like... Because there's the whole Minato days thing, right? But he's kind of, like... He's just consistently shown to be impressive. Like, like you see, for example, right? Like, if just because you're speaking on his intelligence. Literally, Madara, right? Is chilling up there on, like, the Geto Mazo with the Rinnegan, right? Everybody else is like, what's going on? And then you see, like, Tobirama immediately spring in and try and, like... Flying Raijin GG,
you know, everybody was shook, and he's trying to do something. You feel me? He's quick on his feet, you know. And like a lot of people don't mention too, he actually dodged attack from a live, what was it, Renegade stage mode, Madara? Like, and he got bodied though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it's still I still think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Considering the fact that was the Madara who just what was the Madara?
So the one with like he basically like finessed like Sage Mode Naruto. So here's the deal, right? Yeah. He came back like with no eyes, right? He basically was like stronger than his like Edo Tensei like Senju Rinnegan enhanced like counterpart. He like came back stronger. So like him and like Hashirama, it seems like have a big amp when they get revived. Just because like they're just that much stronger. And it's just kind of. And, like, Madara just, like, dogs on, like, EMS Sasuke, Sage Mode Naruto, Sai, but, like, do we even count him? I don't know.
I don't know if he can count Sai.
Yeah, man.
That's cool, but he's not up there, bro.
100%. And it's honestly pretty insane. Now, I actually wanted to throw something at you, and I've heard this talked about before, but I'm kind of curious on your opinion on it. And I don't personally agree with it, but I'm just curious. I've heard arguments that, for example, right, Tobirama actually got stronger in the Reaper Dead Seal, and that's why he's so much stronger because he's fighting in the Reaper Dead Seal, right? And that's why when he gets brought back as an Edo Tensei, he's so much stronger. What's your thoughts on that? I'm just kind of curious.
I actually never heard of that before.
Yeah,
So
it's a
when
little interesting.
Orochimaru revived him, did he revive all the Kage?
So yeah, the whole deal with it, right, is so like Orochimaru, he was in like seals them in the fight with inside like
Yeah.
the Reaper Dead Seal, and
Gotcha. I forgot about that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and the whole deal is right. The argument is I don't personally believe in this argument, for a couple of reasons, but the argument is right. They're fighting in the Reaper Dead Seal, so when they come back, they get stronger from fighting, and like that kind of explains why like Tobirama is able to do all this crazy shit. I personally don't agree with it, yeah, but I'm curious.
They
Like,
were already dead though, right?
yeah, it's a
I mean,
little yeah.
for Minato maybe, but not for.
It's a
Not
weird
Minato was
argument.
originally died to the Death Seal, Reaper Death Seal, correct?
Yeah, yeah. He
So
just
if it was for him, maybe I don't see that for Hashirama or Tobirama
yeah, and
because they've been
yeah.
dead already.
It's a really weird argument, especially when like the reason it doesn't work is because like Kabuto or Orochimaru had like an imperfect version of Edo Tensei.
Yeah, that shit was weak as hell.
Yeah, and like Kabuto perfects it, right? And then like on top of that, they get like a buffed like body from like the Zetsu, like to ultra amp their like Senju cells and all that crazy stuff. So it's like it doesn't work, and it's just like and the crazy thing is, right? It's kind of almost insane to think about like Tobirama is able to like react to all this stuff. Despite being like weaker than his prime and like being dead for so long, it's just like kind of it's almost insane. And you know what's almost crazy? His water style. I feel like a lot of people just sleep on.
Definitely slept on. Wasn't he known as like the best water jutsu user at the time?
I believe so. There's some statement about it. I believe I could be wrong. I have to like search in like the part 1 data books for it.
Yeah,
you know,
like that includes like the second Mizukage.
Yeah,
who was bodying like what, like I would say hundreds of what's it called, Konoha. I mean not Konoha, but like Shinobi Alliance members. Not that that's like that impressive.
Yeah.
Madara, Madara did to them, but like still like you know what I'm saying, like just to put into thought.
He's like finessing like the god tree and all this crazy stuff. It's just it's so you kind of like it almost feels right like that series almost kind of nerfs him, like they don't show because it's like if he really went all out, yeah, here's the kind of thing, right? Here's the crazy thing, right? If he really went all out, you would see this dude throwing Edo Tensei's up with like flying Raijin, like teleporting.
And that's how he used them too, you know.
It's really it's just like a crazy like you. Although here's the thing, right? You also could argue, right? Because you know what's insane? He also built part of his arsenal around being dead in an actual Edo Tensei too. Like, imagine planning that far with like his 1,000 bombs. It's like who does that? Who plans for themselves being dead and like plans an arsenal around that, like from being used on their own jutsu? It's like, was he gonna bring himself back with Edo Tensei? Like, what was he gonna do? Like, I don't know.
It just shows how like far he thought ahead. And I also like to point out his nature releases. Like he has everything, doesn't he?
I would have to double check on that. I'll throw that up on screen.
Looking at Wiki right now, I'm not sure how liable it is, but it says he has everything, even yin and yang release. But like that's the thing, like Naruto as a series doesn't really exploit that, especially with like the side characters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I feel like it's kind of like heroes in mastering every ability in the Leaf Village.
Yeah. Like I'd argue honestly, like Hiruzen's like probably a worse example of that. Because it's like the way they describe this dude of having mastery of every it's like Kakashi, right? Let me tell you about Kakashi. It's like this dude has like over 1,000 jutsu, but he uses like 8 of them. Like
exactly.
Like, I've seen like he's using this mud wall, right? I'm like, bro, I know you got more than this mud wall. You don't bring
for real, bro. I feel like this was mainly for like the OG Naruto, just to like show how great they were or whatever.
Yeah.
But I wish they would have put it more to use, especially in the war,
It's it's really weird too, because it's they also talk about in terms of water style, right? A big deal like in creating water from nothing. That's actually kind of a big deal in Naruto. They talk about like Kisame does it and they hype it up, but nobody talks about Tobirama doing it, which is really
part 1. Like, come on.
He literally does it first, but nobody notes it for some reason. It's really it's
even like the villager noted it in part 1. But people just called it fodder and just kept moving on.
It's just like it's almost too. Because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You know what's part of it, right? I think a big part of like the disrespect and I'll fully admit I'm somewhat guilty of this. Like I'll put myself on record and say I did disrespect Tobirama. My opinions have changed. I think he's a lot stronger than I imagined.
Bro.
You know, we you know what I mean. We all change. You know, opinions change. What can you do? We're human. I'll fully admit that. I think a big thing with it actually was like, I don't know if you recall this or I don't know if you've seen it, but there was like a Seth and Swag video on like Tobirama versus Kisame, and then they were kind of they were ragging on Tobirama, and I think that was like a big inspiration for people saying he's absolute fodder.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I also think there's people who think he's like God tier. Like, I'll see him put above Hashirama, and I'm like, no. No. No, yeah, it's like you know what I mean. But I definitely think. Here's the thing, right? I definitely think he's one of those characters who you can just like you can kind of play around with his like the stuff he does and the stuff he has, and really wank him if you want to, and just like you know what I mean. It's kind of one of those. Yeah. It's like he's just so insane, but you know, I definitely don't think he should be disrespected at all, because he's just like he's so insane. It's just like it's weird almost, because I revisited it and I'm thinking like, why did I adopt this like issue or like stance on Tobirama sucking? You know what I mean? It's like it's weird, right? And then like I don't know, it's almost odd.
I think it's when we discussed like the Kage levels or the Kage like where we rank him. I actually wanted to ask you like. I was researching like the Hiruzen versus Tobirama.
Yes.
And I really have like I know Hiruzen surpassed him in talent. That's a fact.
Yeah.
In data books or whatever, right? But like, bro, with no feats and like talent, I said I made a video on it. I said talent does not necessarily mean he is stronger than him.
I do agree with that. Yeah, I definitely
do. When it comes to battle intelligence and you know, and like I'm not correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard a statement. I think I seen a statement where they said Itachi was like Kage level or something like that at 7, like in terms of
intellect. Yeah, he was like he had the mindset of a Hokage. Yeah, like age.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's kind of like weird to say that talent's like the only aspect of being strength, like having strength. When the 70-year-old Itachi's like Kage, like intellectually Kage already. So
yeah,
so it's just weird. Like I don't know. I just don't think it's right to put Hiruzen over Tobirama based off of a narrow-minded statement, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And you know what's interesting, right? I've actually debated this subject before, so I do have like a bit of experience. One of my followers gonna see this. Here's the thing, right? Yo, this is so sidetracked. One of my TikTok followers is like the biggest Tobirama stan. And you know who I'm talking about. You know who he's gonna comment on this video. He's gonna be like, why didn't y'all let me get in here? Relax. He can't like anytime, like he'll never comment, but when it's Tobirama, like you'll see this dude running. Here's the thing, right? It's actually interesting.
Dread Fox, bro.
Yeah, Dread Fox, D-Fox, bro. Shout out to you. And the power. That man's an animal. Here's the thing, right? I actually argued this. I actually do think I do generally go with the stance of Hiruzen Grid and Tobirama. But I'll probably show you this later. I actually do think he has some better feats in terms of like as an Edo, but it all depends. Like I think it goes back to as well. It goes hand in hand, because it's like if you like, for example, let's say you don't know how to argue like the Minato days thing, then it gets kind of hard. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to know how all these characters are interacting. I can actually show you that later. Why I think that. I'll just show you. Yeah. So it's very interesting, but yeah, definitely. I don't even think it's a problem of him being weak. It's just like the Hokage themselves are just all so much stronger than the rest of like all the other Kage in the series, like in the history. So I think it's just an example of that. And I honestly would argue he'd slap majority of like the other Kage period.
Oh yeah, especially the ones we don't have that much information on.
Yeah, he definitely just like, it's just, I think it's more of a matter of like the Hokage themselves. Like, like for example, right? Like Old Man Hiruzen has a statement like he has like he has a reputation of like being the strongest out of the 5 Kage as an old man, like including like the 4th Raikage, Unruly A, and like
like early, that's near prime 4th Raikage.
Yeah, you could argue he got stronger or weaker depending on like how you want to approach that subject. But so it's not even an issue of like him being weak. It's just like everybody else is just like God tier.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely
I'd
ridiculous.
argue he's like the most balanced. See, that's why I like Tobirama, because he's not that overpowered. You feel me? Like you can scale him to be that like too much OP, but when you look at it for what it is, like he's just really well balanced along with his intellect and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's
I don't
definitely.
have a problem putting him like at number 5 or number 4.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I definitely put him above like Tsunade and Kakashi though.
Yeah, and it's just quite insane when you get into how like his intellect would just go hand in hand with his like insane, like I'm gonna say it, like retarded arsenal. Like it's so like he would just like it's almost hard to imagine this dude ever losing. I'm gonna be honest. Like it's just kind of like, and
he seems like the one to like if he was going to lose a fight, he would just accept it and go with it. You feel me? Like he wouldn't start panicking or nothing. He would just accept his fate and just go through it and go out like it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened actually. When he died to the Kinkaku Force.
Yeah.
Like he didn't show no type of emotion, bro. Except when he was trying to yell at Don's old bitch ass. Like
it's interesting, right? Because you even see him like one-shotting like a Mangekyo Sharingan user in like Izuna, like finessing him. It's just insane. It's like
wait, Izuna had MS?
Yeah, Izuna did in fact have MS, which is interesting.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because Madara had to take his eyes to get EMS, and it's like talked about how they both got like their Mangekyo Sharingan. So it's definitely, and even like Izuna and Madara were said to like rival each other at one point. Now obviously Madara got stronger.
That's kind of yeah.
The whole deal with that was like Itachi making that statement, so it's like it's up in the air. Yeah, so it's very up in the air. Yeah. It was in the Sasuke versus Itachi fight. He talks about he pretty much talks about how like Madara and Izuna were rivals. However, this kind of gets like contradicted later on with like Madara shown to be stronger. So you could probably say they were rivals for a time, but Madara just kind of had a higher like potential ceiling or something like that.
Probably at that time, yeah.
Yeah, but Izuna does have a Mangekyo Sharingan, and like Tobirama just finessed him. So it's not like Tobirama's like fodder in any regard. He's like, he literally is an Uchiha like slaughter, to be honest with you. It's like kind of he's like it takes bodies.
Uchiha body because he had to fight them. You know what I'm saying? Like, his whole life, people still want to get on them for. No, let me not even get back to that topic.
Yeah. It's terrible memes. Like I hate bad anime memes. Like that's just me though. Like it's just they're so annoying. But
really misunderstanding and like I don't know, bro. And maybe I'm just because he's my favorite character. Yeah.
And it's just like when you stack all this with like the immense drip, like you see my man's fit, bro. You see it.
Like, I don't know. People try to pretend like they don't see it. I know you see it right there. Like, come on,
bro.
With the blue, the fur coat. What else do you want? You got the white hair, bro. You got the red. Let me chill out, bro.
It's multifunctional. If it's hot or cold, he's chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like, man doesn't play games. He came up. It's like, god damn. It's almost, it's too much. And like people get on it for like him inspiring Danzo, but it's like, how is that his fault that this one guy took his ideals so radically?
It's just bias. It's just bias, bro.
Like, for example, right? If people are gonna take that, right, they're gonna have to like disrespect like Itachi, right? For like Shin, like taking his ideology and like over like going far with it, like way too far on the spectrum. So it's the same thing. I don't follow like that train of thought. It's just really.
Oh, I actually had a video idea for you, bro. All right, so not to get off about the ambush.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the ambush.
All right, so for the ambush, you know how they snuck up on him, right?
Yes.
Well, they didn't sneak him. They went to the Kage Summit, right? And my theory on this is that they were not rogue at the time. The ambush is what made them rogue, correct? Because that's what an ambush is.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm thinking that the second right Kage thought they were just coming to assist them as like guardians or something. Because I don't remember a guardian being there for the Kage Summit.
Yeah, they described it as the I think it was the second Raikage, right? In the second Hokage Tobirama actually you know, like being there at the summit, and then they were ambushed. So you could you know, I figure that's an interesting point. I feel like it would really like you could make a good case for that. And it's even if you're ambushed, right? And like this is like a thing in fiction. In fiction in general, if your guard's down, your absolute fodder and like your durability and everything drops if you're off guard. So like ambush doesn't even really mean anything. A great example, right? I'll give you a fantastic example right now, and everybody can relate to this. In like the Boruto manga, I don't know if you're reading it, but Kaguya like betrayed like Ishiki, like the dude.
Good point,
so it's like, and this is consistent. It's like Goku laser. You know, like there's so many points in fiction when your guard is dropped, like your durability just drops. So if you argue it from that perspective, 100%, you can say like it's not you pretty much can paint this narrative that like his feats, like pretty much you can say like he was fatigued and whatever, and like his feats just basically kind of support that, because it's like
looking for peace, not ready for battle in any way.
Yeah, 100%. So it's
a really good point, bro. I'm glad you brought that up, because Kaguya was the one who was supposed to be the sacrifice, and she's the one who ended up like
betraying, catching him off guard. Yeah, and he's like massively above.
Point, bro.
Yeah. So it's like it's little stuff like that. And I guess this is like a thing if you're debating. Like this is something like I try to work on. It's like kind of like, and this is something like you'll hear, for example, like Set the Program we're talking about, right? It's like when you're debating, like you want to paint pretty much like this narrative that's very believable to like a widespread group of people in terms of like your argument. So it's just like if you can do that, you're pretty much like, not even as a debater, just as like a human, you're doing well. Like if you can like spread it over, honestly, and like especially in Naruto, if you ever talk about it,
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That I think that's the video. Those are just some of our thoughts on like Tobirama, Senju, water style, drip lord. That's not water style. That's just his outfit. So that's the video. Bro, definitely check out my boy's I'm not gonna say your name. I'm not gonna.
Negroninja.
Yo, I swear someone's gonna clip it and disrespect me, so I can't do it. So, well, I'll definitely put him in the description. Definitely check him out. Thank you for coming by. I just wanted to like talk about it, bro. Respect Tobirama. I did it for a while, but I saw the light. You know what I mean? You gotta just switch up sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man. So with that being said, drop a like. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time.